Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. You know, I don't want to give too much away, but this might be the best Megatron figure I've ever held.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
So to start things off, we are going to look at Megatron in his vehicle mode. And yeah, he's a tank. And I know there was a lot of discussion and debate as to whether or not he should be a tank or a gun or what have you. I think a tank makes sense. Hasbro even outright said they can't sell a gun Megatron. I am fine with this mode. Also, I'm fine with it because of how beautifully it transforms into robot mode. Once this guy is in robot mode, there is virtually nothing that signals that he becomes a tank. It is honestly one of the most impressive Transformers I've ever seen. So here is Megatron in his tank mode, and he does roll quite nicely. There are 3 wheels on the figure, 1, 2, and 3, which will allow him to roll around quite nicely. And, you know, we get very nice, like, Megatron grays on here, the gray that you would expect. Some darker grays for the tank treads, some darker grays for the back. This eventually will be part of his leg. But otherwise, you know, just really what you would expect, some gray, you know, gray colors. Of course, the cannon being like that gunmetal black. Little bit of red right there, which is nice. And this piece, which is going to be on, you know, the cannon piece on his back. Just to say it, I do think that in both modes, the cannon looks a little short. I know they added this piece to, like, extend the cannon. You can take it off. And, yeah, the cannon ends up looking kind of small. I've already seen some 3D print options that can maybe give you a better looking Megatron cannon. Your you know, results may vary. I'm not rushing out to really put a new cannon on here, but otherwise, you know, the only other little bits that you might notice, there are some transformation tabs and storage holes on this figure. He does have 2 other accessories, one being the Megatron gun that you can stick anywhere on the figure in vehicle mode, so you maybe want to put another cannon there. He also has his beam saber that you can stick on the figure as well, if you feel like you need to arm him up with all these additional pieces. I personally don't. So I am fine with just kind of having it look like this and look fine. The other thing I do want to point out, though, the tank turret will rotate. It rotates via the transformation piece here on the back, or towards the back of the tank. So it will allow the tank to rotate all the way around. You can do a full 360. I can't get it to go up and down. Yeah, I mean, granted, I'm not really pointing it up or down, and I don't think in the real world tanks move up and down. I'm pretty sure they just go kind of side to side. People have complained there is a little bit of some gappage here. You know, the arms aren't flush down, but I think it's okay. Like, it looks fine enough. Again, I'm not one to keep my Transformers in their vehicle mode. I do keep them in robot mode, but this looks fine. You know, for your toy photography, for your stop motion, I think this is going to be just about as perfect as a Megatron as you can get. Screen accurate? No, because he didn't turn into a tank. But honestly, I think for 2025, this is really, really good. So let's stop looking at his robot mode or his vehicle mode so much and get him into his robot mode. Alright, so I am going to attempt to transform him into robot mode on screen. I really hate transforming things on screen, but the way to start is to separate these arms, and then you're going to take off the cannon. And as you see, it kind of lifted off this piece. There's a gap here. You can move this piece back, and now the fusion cannon is complete. I'm just going to move this to the side. This piece is going to come back in before too long. Now, looking at the figure, you are going to want to undo the tank tread, so I'm just going to kind of keep the arms like this for now. You can undo the, actually, I take that back. You are going to want to undo the feet, or transform the feet. Focus on the feet first. You can flip them out here. You're going to flip out the whole foot, and then flip out the toe like that. So again, foot comes out, flip the whole foot out, bring up the toe. There we go. Then, back here, you can kind of lift up the tank piece a little bit, and you're going to bring this part out. This is going to be the front of his leg, so you're going to want these pieces just free and ready to be transformed. Now you're going to worry about the tank sides. They unclip, and you can see it becomes a whole big panel. Same on this side as well. A couple tricks in here that you have to do. first, this middle section, pop this out. All right, that will then give you clearance enough to open up this piece, flip this piece in, close it back up. Similar thing on the bottom, where you're going to pop out this piece, flip this piece in, close it back up. And then what you can do is you can fold everything back together. There are some little tabs. You can see them here, and they are going to tab into here. So you just have to click that in. And then another secure point here is to take this middle section from the tank tread piece, and it snaps in. So as you can see, there's a little hole there, little tab here. Just snap that in. It stays pretty secure. If you want to finish the whole foot, you would bring down the front of the foot like this. Make sure it gets nice and squeezed together. And then just bring the foot back. Hang on. There we go. Bring the foot back. We got ourselves a leg. Other leg, same thing. We are going to move this middle piece. We are going to fold in the pieces that make the nice big long tank tread. Just like this. Why doesn't mine want to open it? There we go. It was stuck for a moment. There you go. All right, like I said, you fold everything back, connect it all nicely. Let me just... Okay. There we go. Once again, this back piece connects in there. Just got to get all this lined up. There we go. All right, so here are the feet. He can pretty much stand. What you're going to want to do, there is 2 black panels here that will unclip, and you're going to want to unclip this piece like this. So you see how I kind of flipped that up? I'm just going to move my camera up a little bit so you can maybe see this a little better. All right, from here, extend the legs down and rotate 360. These 2 black pieces come around, finish making that skirt piece. Very important look for Megatron. Then I am going to take the arms, rotate them 180. I'll come back to them in a moment. I am going to snap together everything on the chest, open this piece up so I can get his head out. You can see his head. Ooh, gotta raise the camera just a little more. There we go. You can see his head. And then I'm gonna snap this piece down, squeeze all this together, more or less have his body almost done. I'm gonna untab the arms back here, kind of straighten them out, flip the arms down. This piece you're gonna flip in, and then the back connects. There we go. And then with the arms, you just kind of want to play with these joints here and get Megatron there. We are almost done. At the arms here, you're going to want to rotate this way, open these panels up, rotate everything around. There we go. That is there. Same with the other one. Rotate, open the panels, flip out the hand, rotate this entire section, and then close it back up just like that. Boom. Here is Megatron in his robot mode. Now, there are a couple additional pieces to add to complete his look. Of course, it would be the fusion cannon and this barrel. So the barrel comes off. There's a peg here, and there are a couple holes on Megatron's back. It goes on the right side, and then you just flip it up. I like to have the little trigger piece right behind him, so there's that. And then I take the fusion cannon, one big peg right there, you can see it, and peg it into his arm. And like going along with what I was saying before, it does look a little stumpy, the fusion cannon, but I'm still kind of okay with it. And you know, we have other fusion cannon options. I'm sure if you're anything like me, you probably have a few Megatrons sitting around. You could always give him a different cannon if you wanted to, but here is Megatron all transformed into his robot mode glory, ready to stomp some Autobots. And yeah, I really, really, really like this Megatron. I think he looks fantastic. And yeah, God, all right. So we're gonna take a look at him in robot mode fully now, and we're gonna talk about his articulation as well. So let me just kind of put him back to just a decent standing point. All right. So, like I said, let's talk about his articulation, because I'm getting too ahead of myself by posing him out already. His head, bringing it in close, is on a ball joint, so you get a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of side-to-side wiggle, and then he can turn his head if you need him to. So there is that. At the body, we do have full 360 waist rotation. Due to transformation, there are like ab crunches and stuff, but like if you start untabbing this stuff to do it, it's just gonna look weird. So you're probably not going to really start leaning him back, unless like you want there to be a gap in his body. So putting him back together. At the arms, we do have full rotation. Lift that high. Probably would have gone higher if it wasn't for the little trigger piece on his shoulder. We do have full bicep rotation. Single jointed elbow, but it goes a little more than 90 degrees, as you can see. And then at the wrist, we do have all kinds of movement, because as you saw, that was a ball joint, so you can move it up a little bit, and you can rotate it all around. And then at the hands, we do have articulated fingers. Yes, they're not all individually articulated. The pointer finger is individually articulated with 2 knuckles, so you can see it has pointing all the way at the tip and then at the mid part. The other fingers, they are fused together, but again, upper part and then mid part. So he can make a fist. You can have him point if you want, or perhaps you want to have his hand open and he is he is nicely singing to the crowd, or perhaps talking to his loyal Decepticons, giving a moving speech of some kind. I don't know, but I'm gonna put his hand back into a fist here. The thumb does get in the way a little bit when you're trying to make an actual fist, so just make sure you kind of tuck in the tip first and then slide it in. All right, that's gonna go a long way. Also, at the arms, we have this, because of transformation, it ends up becoming like a butterfly joint, and you can really go like really far out with it. So granted, you can make it look a little inhuman, or you can like go really far forward with it. And I think that's a nice, like, it goes back, it goes forward. Here's like neutral. It is a nice feature to have. So that is pretty cool. At his legs, let me move his arms real quick. We can move forward. And the thing I love, the hip skirt moves with the leg. So it's nothing that gets out of the way in the front. Like, it just moves with it. So he's going to move forward. They are going to move out. The hip skirt on the side moves not with it. It's not the same piece, but easily, just like nothing's clunking and clanging together. It works so well. Full rotation at the thigh. We have, legs can also go back too. So there you go. Knees are going to bend that much. Pretty nice knee bend. You know, again, what are you really expecting from a Transformer? But it does look good. Nothing else at the bottom of the leg, but the feet, of course, have a little bit of back and forth because of transformation. And then we do have good old ankle tilt, so he can get in some real, deep stretching poses if you need him to. It is pretty impressive how far he moves. So yeah. Now, looking at his deco, I'm gonna bring him up to the camera again so you can look at his head. That is such a Megatron looking head. He's got the angry brow. He's got the red eyes. He's got, just like I'm gonna say it's stoic face. That's probably the best way to word it. The helmet looks great. Everything on this looks great. Bringing it down to the body, we have the nice kind of overly sized chest with a Decepticon symbol slap in the middle there. We have at the lower abdomen, first off on the sides, we got like the nice like venting details. And then whatever electronic garble we have here, it looks fantastic. At the arms, again, we have like the little trigger pieces up top. We have the red inside the elbow. It looks great. And then the black hands. And that is, of course, the same on the both. Just to turn him around real quick to look at the back. Very little kibble on this figure. Yeah, some empty gappage, but like nothing terrible. This looks great. Even with the screw holes and stuff, he still looks fine. And what I do want to point out, since we're looking at the back of him, really just the tank parts on his back here. This is really the only part of him where you could tell he maybe turns into a tank. Like, and I guess the tread pieces here. Really, aside from that, looking at him dead on, you wouldn't know that he turns into a tank. Looking at his legs and his midsection, we do, or his at his midsection, we do have very Megatron-y looking colors, grays. I love the way the toes are done up. He just looks fantastic. And looking again at the fusion cannon, it on its own it looks kind of fine. I think it would have benefited if the peg was at the back of this piece. So rather than being so far forward, I think if it was back, it would have helped give the illusion of a longer kind of cannon. But otherwise, I think it looks fine. We got the red piece right there. I think that's pretty cool. And it looks good. I think on his arm it looks fine. I think I might try to maybe use a different fusion cannon to see if it looks better. At this point, though, I don't hate it. I still really do like it. Looking at his other accessories in a little more detail. First, we will look at the Megatron blaster, and it looks like Megatron. This would be him in his gun mode. What can I say? I do feel weird that this comes with Megatron because I don't think he would hold himself. On your shelf, you can suspend your disbelief, whatever. He can hold this quite easily. You just got to open his hand back up, and you can see it's definitely curved in there, so you can slot it into his hand, put his hands around it, and now Megatron is holding himself, which is fine. But if you want to use a different character, I have Hook from the Constructicons nearby. Those reviews are coming soon, just in case you're wondering. And any other character who's got hands ready to hold something can hold on to him. So here's Hook holding on to him. Yay! If you're looking for storage of any kind, you do have some options, because aside from him holding it, any one of these ports, you can stick it on. Not that it's an arm blaster, but hey, your figure, do what you want. There's also a space on the back where you could stick it. There's also this little cutout groove here, little gray peg on the gun, and you can just plug this into the back of Megatron, and then just kind of have it hiding behind him. And it really doesn't do a tremendous amount to his silhouette to really mess anything up. So weapon storage is great. I mean, I'll probably end up having someone on my shelf holding the blaster, but yeah, no real change there. Then we have this nice, beam saber, the sword that he takes Optimus out with, and this thing looks fantastic. There's different shades of purple on it. This is more like pink for the blade. We have a purple handguard, and the gray bit at the handle. If you want him to hold this, you do have to open up the hand, and then I was having a little trouble getting it in, but you can stick it in there like that, and there you go. You hear the snap in there. So don't be afraid. It shouldn't break the plastic, but now he is holding this. I do feel like it looks almost a little short. I feel like a little longer may have been nice, but it does the job. If you want this to be the thing that he is holding, you have it. It's there. Hooray. Again, I don't know if I'll necessarily display him with this. I do like it. And I've in the past, I've definitely made sure Megatron is holding additional weapons. But if you want to store it somewhere, let me just pop it out of his hand. You can see, it's tight. I'm having trouble popping it out. There we go. If you do want to store it, though, again, peg on his back. You can stick it right there. This one you do see sticking up just a little bit over his shoulder. And then, of course, it's if you look close enough behind him, it is sticking down. But that he can store all his weapons, and it looks pretty good. So with all that said, I think it might be time to do some size comparisons, some figure comparisons for this Megatron, because I think there's quite a bit to talk about here. Now, first and foremost, here he is with the Earthrise Optimus Prime. I've modified mine to have a Megatron arm very much like what you see in the Skybound Transformer series. But since I have a War for Cybertron fusion cannon in front of me, let's pop this off real quick. Let's see how that looks on this new Megatron. So you can stick the peg right there. You know what? It doesn't look bad. This one is definitely bigger. I think the placement of this one, the peg is back further, so it kind of looks nicer on his arm. Because like the other one's going to be sitting about there. So, yeah, you know, your mileage is going to vary. You use you. I'm going to stick with what he comes with. And there we go. I'm going to give this one back to this Prime. Now, one of the things I've seen people say, people have even said to me, and I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong, is that some people didn't get the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime because they like the Earthrise one. And honestly, I love the Earthrise one. I did end up getting the Studio Series Prime, who you'll see in just a few moments. I do really like him, but if you want your Megatron to have a little bit of height on your Earthrise Prime, this is a great way to do it. So I think this is a great comparison, and I can totally understand people who stick with Earthrise over Studio Series 86. But here is the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime next to our Studio Series Megatron. You can see they are comparable heights. Kind of makes sense. The leaders of each faction would be about the same size, but I think they look really good together too. This is still a great Optimus. So here's how they look together. Here is the Studio Series 86 Megatron with the Earthrise Megatron. And while there are some things on this figure that look really cool and very similar, I do feel like the Studio Series one is coming off as the better figure. Namely, even just things like having this cannon. This cannon came from a Soundwave that I just stuck on his back to have that piece. This piece was also from one of those accessory packs. So, it's been on so long. Can I take it off? There we go. If you want to give him the purple mace, you probably can. And imagine if I open his hand up to a certain degree, I can probably get that to stick in there. Might have to close the hand a little bit. Oh yes, the purple mace works on this one too. So if you have this accessory, it will definitely fit on the new Megatron, on the Studio Series Megatron. So that is, oh man, that is really cool. I was not expecting this to work. Having this, that makes me happy. That makes me real happy. So yeah, I might be posing him with the mace. And as a bit of a surprise comparison, here is Megatron with two of the oldest Megatrons I own. Yes, this is a G1 Megatron. It is a reissue over here. And this is the Classics Megatron, who I modified to take the wings off. I can always put him back on for transformation. But this Megatron, specifically the Takara one, was like my main display Megatron for a while. The Takara one is somewhere in my, either in my display or in my storage. I don't know why that one's not out, but yeah, I really did love this Megatron, and I thought it was really cool. He's kind of the one that helped get me back into Transformers, and the G1 Megatron is just really cool. I mean, he has a giant fusion cannon with no pegs, so it probably won't fit on the Studio Series one's arm, so I can't even compare that, but just thought this would be a fun comparison to show off as well. So those are my thoughts and my ideas on the new Studio Series Megatron. Poor Ironhide didn't stand a chance, but I really do love this figure. I was saying to my wife when I was messing around with him before, like, I think this is the last Megatron I'm ever going to have to buy. I mean, I say that now. Of course, there's bound to be some other Megatron that I buy someday, but in case I didn't say it, Canon is Blast Effect compatible, as you can see. But yeah, this is probably one of the best looking Transformers I've ever gotten to mess with, and one that I think is a contender for one of my figures of the year. This is just a great Megatron and something that will look imposing and fantastic on your shelf. But let me know what you think of this Megatron. Are you picking it up? Did you pick it up? He is a leader class price point, so of course you're looking at that $55-ish price tag at the moment. But seriously, let me know what you think of this Megatron. I'd love to hear your comments down in the description or down in the comments below, whatever. And remember, you can always check out the Rock Nerd Radio Show podcast on your preferred podcast platform. It is hosted by myself and my good friend Vinny. We talk about all different aspects of pop culture, and Transformers come up every now and then. So leave some love down below. Let me know what you think. And until next time, I've been Dan. That's been Megatron. You've all been awesome, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in.